soy yo otra vez. Yo estoy poniendo una pausa en mi carbón tolva proyecto porque lo que yo buscado hacer es uno trabajar. Translation. Hello, it's me again. I'm putting a pause on my co-hopper project because what I wanted to do didn't work. Translation, rather. Yeah, I thought I'd just speak a bit of Latin Spanish there. Wasn't actual Spanish, it was Latin Spanish. Anyway, we're going to pause the video and get some items out. And we are going to crack on with building a train station. A double track train station. I have practically all the equipment to do so. So let's get some stuff out, shall we? Pause in the video. Or should I say, pausa la video. No, that'd be pause. Oh, god damn it. Oh, I didn't actually pause. For that pause. Never mind. Anyway. I will crack on with trying to learn different languages and that, but it's not that easy. I'll see you in a minute. Right, I've got some equipment, but I'm not sure if it's correct, but we do have measurements. We are actually going to take out some trains to measure up how big this train station is going to be. Now, I have bought out my two biggest passenger trains. So, I'm just letting you know that. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get them set out because I've set up my table completely different where I can actually build on a bigger space. I've got bigger space to build, in other words. So I'll see you in a minute while I get the trains out. Right, I'll set up the trains. You don't need to look at them at the moment. But what I will say is, I measured up my cardboard that I thought might work to this. And it doesn't seem to be big enough. I've just had another rethought. Would that work? No. It's chopped quite finely. So we're going to have to find some more cardboard. Back in a jiff. Right, we have a problem. I can't find any more cardboard. We are going to have to try and make do with this. Oh, I'm going to have to try and make do with this. Well, I've got no way of actually configuring this to be in a train station. Because, technically, I need that width of it. I need it about this long. All these bits folding around. I ain't going to be able to do it. Trying to think if I can do it that way. So look how long that is to the coaches. Might have a chance. Yeah, well, you want to try and do it this way. So I have actually got a bit of a measurement. I'm going to have to gently move this sellotape because that's going to need to go. Because we are not just going to put stations standing up and stuff like that. We are going to put ballast and all sorts on this. This is going to look realistic. And also, I'll be doing a bit of another project while I'm at this. Because I have a broken light, but I will be building lights for this. And at the same time, I can fix that broken light. pause the video while I'm doing this to just save time. Right, so I've got rid of all the tape off it. How did I say I was going to use this? Lengthways, so I want to get rid of that bit where it's got all that iffy on there. This doesn't need to be perfect. This is only just the edgings of the station. Right, that should be big enough. Right, so we are now going to get measurements. I'm going to be pausing the video while I get the next set of equipment. Right, sorry, I forgot to pause the video on that. Just put track together as well. So we're going to measure this out. I'm going to need to find something to hold the laptop up from where I'm working. Not quite able to see that. Where's you can see it a little bit. Let me pause the video and try and get a nice, decent view. Right, there we go. That's a better view. So what we're going to do now, we're going to need a pencil and a ruler. I'll use my small ruler just to get a rough measurement. We want this bigger than the track. I'm going to say 5mm bigger than the tracks. So this is going to be very hard to actually measure. Doesn't look straight. No, I'll get rid of it out. So let's say from the 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on, I can't see. Let's get that dead on. There we go. So with the edge of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks better. So 10.3 according to that. 10.3. Let me just check that. Let me get the track right underneath it. And from there. This will get it straight as well. I think some of the rails are out on this. And some of the tracks just are. So that's my 5mm. Yeah, 10.3, which is correct. So I want that 10.3 roughly from about, because we want this more or less in the centre. So there's my 10.3. Go over towards that way a little bit more. That way a little bit. That's about right. But we're actually going to do that better than that. Because this is a train station, I want this after that. We're going to see how long this cardboard is, roughly. Right, I'm going to ignore that line. And we are going to cut off from about there. So I need to rub that line out. We're going to make that a little bit better. I'm going to use the edge of the cardboard and draw a straight line. All I've got to remember is 10.3. From that line, I'm actually going to make a decent marking so it's easier to actually get the middle of this. Okay, fine. We're going to do it from 30 to 30. Yep. Yeah, that's bang on. So now we want the halfway point to that, which will be 15. Like that. Don't worry about the lines being drawn on that, they will end up disappearing. So 10.3, we know half of 10 is 5, so it'll be roughly about there for the middle. Just have a look how that looks. No, it needs to be halfway between that. I've already got the dot. Oh no, I need to draw on these ends. There we go. I'm just going to double check that that measurement is good enough. Right, I can't see because the track's actually stabbing me. Crikey. I know. My work can be a bit annoying. But we want this wider than the track, not too wide. About where I've got it. I'm happy with that. Because the lip of the station can always reach to the coaches, which will give it more stability. And passengers can get on and off properly. Oh, we have a bit of a problem. I should have measured a good decent one from there if we are going to start all that again. The 30 centimetres was actually correct for this. Don't want to get confused with them dots. Oh, line. The other line I'm not too fussed about, because that wasn't really any good. As you can see, that is big enough to actually be a train station for these trains. I need to move them over slightly. So we're going to try and do 30 again. No, it's just making the measurements really difficult for me. This is. Making the measurements difficult. Now I've got to go 29.5. Which is harder for me to actually figure out where the middle of that is. Means I'm probably going to have to use my laptop to use a calculator. Right, let's go 29. I'm going to try 29. See how thick that is to this. Will I still be able to build a station on that? Yes, I'll be able to build a station on that. 29 is a bit easier than what I was going to go for. If I went for 29.5, that would have really boggled my head. But because I've gone 29, it's not going to boggle my head that much. Because I know roughly what half of 29 is. Half of 9 is 7. No, like that. Is it? No. 5 of 5 is 10. Half of 9 is 4 point. I'll figure it out anyway. It's not that difficult. I'm going to need to put another dot here because I'm not sure how far I'm going. Right, I don't think that line's very straight, so I'm going to have to do that line again. It's actually being awkward, but once I get this template done, no, it's not a template, once I get this base done, everything else will just fall into place. Oh, that's giving me my 30 marking back. So that's awesome. Right, so that line, I think. I'm not sure now what line's what. We have a problem. I've got confused with the lines here. I do need to get rid of that other line. I'm not sure whether 30 centimetres is on that. I think this just wants to be awkward. Yeah, that wasn't overly straight. Now I know which line to go for. Sorry about this, both of this taking the mic. That's exactly what it's doing. To get accurate, to get measurements accurate, they're not always easy. That's why it messed up. I've got to now do measurement here so I can follow it. one for half.
Can you come here for a sec?
1 minute. So folks, I'm being called away for a minute. Right folks, we're back. Yeah, and I've just moved this over. I've got to press play on the video again. Near enough, but luckily enough I haven't done much more on this. But there we go, so that's 30 on 30, so we want 15 right in the centre. And if I remember correctly, I'm going to have to remeasure this. I think it was 10.3. That's why this isn't levelling out properly. Oh, there we go. Oh, we've got it. But this surface isn't exactly ideal for this, but I can work with it. Oh, it looks like I actually did a wrong measurement. It's not 10.3. It's 9.5. That's made that easier. Made that a hell of a lot easier. I can actually get that smack in the centre. From there to there reaches to 9.5. And I add the 10 on, so 10 centimetre in width. We're going to check that after I've drawn the line. That doesn't make sense. I've lost the dot. Is that it? That could be it. I'll have to draw another dot. Remember 10 centimetres. Oh no, I found the actual dot. See, 5. So I'm gonna join that there. I'm not join it. I'm gonna draw a dot there, and a dot there. See how that looks with the track. I'll bring the track in a bit further, closer in. Can't see the other dot. I've lost the dot. Oh! Now I'm looking at the wrong dots. That's what it is. So yeah, I'm absolutely happy with that. That does look completely bang on and accurate. So we get rid of the middle dot. Like I said, we are going to make this proper. No fooling about. There's actually going to be ballast on this. That's how I found it. So that's the one dot, that's the other. Getting rid of the middle dot. Before we actually start joining it up to a decent mode. Because that can fold, I'm going to do it like that. And I want the 30 centimetres again. Yeah, I've got it. 15. Don't worry about that fold bit because I can actually mend that. Using bits of cardboard that I'm going to be tearing from this. Twice. It was 10. Yeah, it's got to be because that's on 5. Get rid of that middle dot. Now before we do that, I'm gonna just check that still, yeah, no, I should have just got rid of the middle dot. So we're going to have the platform, one platform here and one platform there, so it's double track. And I have ready-made ballast from the last video of the coal hopper project. I've lost my dots. There's the one dot. I believe that's the other one. Bloody better be. I'll have to check that with the ruler. Where's my other ruler? Where's that gone? Ah, there it is. Yes, that was the right dot. Not easy to do with this ruler. With the rulers I'm using. At this point, what would actually be really good to do is have a meter stick. You know what? Scratch this a minute. I just realised something. I can actually do this all in one. Back in a minute, I'm going to get something. Aha! Look what we have. Just as good as a meter stick. It's a spirit level. So I know where them dots are, I know where them dots are, so this will be even easier. Alright, I'm going to hold this way, and we are going to make these measurements again. If this doesn't work properly, I'm going to be really, really annoyed. But I'll make it work. You can never have a track spacing too wide, or not wide enough. Yeah, you can have it not wide enough, but you can never have it too wide. Because it's the platforms that need to measure up correctly, not the width of the track. That's why I've done this slightly wider, so we can actually build a decent platform. So now all there is to do is line up them 3 dots and draw a straight line. Now I'm going to use this. Yeah, there's the 1 dot. There's 2. There's 3. That's not right then. Something's not right. Oh, no, I'm looking at the wrong dot. Never mind. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Oh, not so happy there. I went a bit off course. Oh, it's gone well off course. Christ. Spirit level idea didn't actually work. We'll have to do that again. Some awkward stuff. So I'm going to go back to the original scenario using the ruler. Now I've got to get that measurement again. So I might as well have just left them dots there actually. That bit of the line was in the right place. I think my pencil may need sharpening as well. This will look good when it's done. And this foldy bit, I have plans of getting rid of that. Good plans as well. My plan is to get rid of that foldy bit. Is to get a layer of cardboard and just glue it over the top. But I'm not sure if I really need to do that when the ballast goes on. It'll hold it in place anyway. You won't be able to. Well, yeah, when the ballast goes on, you won't be able to see that lining part that well. And this is going to have a platform on it anyway. But I might put some cardboard over that just in case. There is a reason why I am actually drawing these lines. And it's not just to configure where the track's going. The ballast has to go under the track rather than over the track. So the idea is to cut this middle section out what I've drawn. And oh, that's gone slightly out of proportion. Only a little bit. And what do you call it? Put the ballast inside there, using a bit of something along the edge to stop the ballast leaking over the edge, and actually glue it in. Now you're going to wonder how the hell I am going to get this. Is why it's quite good actually having this section. How I'm going to get all this out there. Now I'm not going to need any cutting cardboard underneath this because I don't want to go right the way through. Oh. Yeah, I think this needs a new blade on this. This one's rusted to hell. It's actually making this awkward. I don't mind about any damage going onto the middle part because I'm getting rid of that. If it goes onto the outer layer, I will be annoyed. And this light is not very good for this. I'll try and go in a little bit deeper. Get the edge in. Because this cardboard is really flimsy. But it's double layered. So it does have a bit of strength to it. It's got enough strength to actually do what I want it to do. Oh, one thing I didn't check. I want to see how this fits in there. You know what? That's actually pretty perfect. Don't worry about the switch point because that switch point won't be staying on there. But I think I need to go a little bit further out with that. And then let me just make sure that all this is actually completely level. I take it back, that is absolutely perfect. Don't need to make any alterations or nothing. Sugar. Right, the reason why I'm struggling to cut this is because it's not exactly in line with all the straight lines on this. So it's like I'm cutting through different layers of different corrugator. But it's not like that, I am actually doing that. So to say that that's the corrugators like that, the lines are actually slightly to the side. So it's making me not cut perfectly straight. Because I can't follow it that well. But at least all the damage is actually happening to the middle and not to the edges. Because I want the edges. So in a minute, because you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to cut all these lines out. I will not move any cardboard from the, well, hopefully if I don't forget to replay the video. I'm going to cut all these lines out and you'll see how to remove it. But obviously just cut along the lines. So back, see you in a few. I'm pausing. A little bit of an accident just there has actually gone towards the edge, but it's mendable. Right, the one side is done. Obviously you can just about make out that the drawn line is there, but if you look right here, you can actually see that line because it's been cut. Right, doing the other side now. Right, not sure if that's repairable, but I've done it again. It's slightly gone towards this side. Might be repairable. So because I definitely need to put some cardboard over that bit and maybe have to cover that up. Doing it again there. So now we're coming to the easy part. You can see the two lines that I've cut out. Because now you can see that, you'll actually see how perfect this is to it. Let me hold it so it doesn't slide. Oh, let me get it level. You see where the two lines are, and you can see that that actually just levels out with it. Now there won't be a switch point on this, but I will be holding the track down with something I don't know yet. But what we're going to do now, we're going to get the standard blade now, and we are going to take this middle section out. It's done. Doesn't matter how much you pull on this, because it's not going to go all over the place, because it can't, because it is all sliced. You can see what I'm doing. Yeah, sure that. And this is how you make double, well, make corrugator. It's just doing this piece and this one. Oh, let me find something to plug that in. Well, I do have all the boxes here, it's going there for now. Don't worry about getting too much of this stuff off, just try and get a neat line so you can actually see where you've cut and where you haven't. So as I said, you don't want to cut right the way through this. If you cut right the way through, you end up with two halves and you're going to end up having to put more cardboard underneath. So all you want is like a little alleyway going through the cardboard. I'll start from this end. I'm doing all this bit on camera instead of turning the camera off and that, because once I get a nice good streak on this, the whole lot of this should actually come up all in one. Fortunately, like I said, it's flimsy cardboard. I'm getting there. There is another way actually of doing this, which I should have done in the first place, which is a lot faster. Get a pencil and just follow the lines. Oh. you've got to be careful that you don't go through the cardboard, because it is actually flimsy cardboard. So the least cardboard that's on there, the easier it is to push the pencil through and to get all the stuff off. Okay, now all that's out of the way, you just go down the next aisle, near all that breaking, and go right through to that bit. Same again. And again. Let's go on the opposite side. Now do I have to go through that one? Still attached by the other side. Ah. You don't need to pull all of this off all at once, all you need to do is the sides. That's what I'm trying to get to. Now I've got to the sides, without going too deep, I want to score another line along there. I want it to cut into the cardboard but not too deep. I want underneath this paper thin, which is just one layer of cardboard, of paperised cardboard. That better not just gone right the way through, otherwise it's going to make this more difficult. Oh, well, would you look at that? I didn't even go all the way through. So you won't be able to look at that because I'm not bringing it onto the camera. You don't need to. All you need to know is I haven't gone all the way through. And it's proved when I take this section out. I'm not trying to press too hard on the knife. As it says, I only want a certain amount of cardboard to come off this. Have I gone through that already? Feels like, oh no, that was a bit. Oh, crikey. Pencil was underneath it, that's why. Right. Did I do this side? No. Don't worry about the edging of this being straight or slightly curved, just as long as it's within the reason of seam straight. Don't ever think that you can make something completely perfect because it's actually impossible. The only way you do that is if you use machines. When you do handheld stuff, it doesn't need to be exactly perfect. If you think your lines are going all out of proportion and that, don't think that until you've actually finished it. Because the lines that I'm trying to get a hold of with this, once I get a hold of them, everything will be perfect. Right, I had to go through that bit then because this just doesn't want to cut for some reason. Ah, glue, there's glue. I'll have to try and break it. There we go. I think I've just broke it. Oh, a bit more there. That's got to have broken. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. Can get that within the cardboard, so that's how it holds together with glue. But it's quite weird how it actually configures, how it stays in shape. This side's just actually been awkward. So yeah, I'm not trying to go right the way through the cardboard, we just want the middle section out. Because of how awkward this side's being, I'm going to pause the video just to try and get through this. I just thought of another idea that might work. Instead of going forwards through it, I'm going to try and come backwards through it. Right, that's actually cut through. Yeah, that should work. So let's just finish off on this bit. And once we have the cardboard free, it should work really nice for what I want to do with it. Anyway, pause the video because I've got to go to the toilet. The back. Pardon me. Yeah, pardon me on that. I was trying to say I'll be back. Yeah, and hopefully when I've actually finished building this, to be honest, I will hopefully paint this up. I think this would look awesome painted. Make it look even more realistic. I mean, I do have some water-based paints. I will try and add some colour to it. Which side am I cutting? Yeah, I believe it's this side. Yeah, that's going through nicely now. Oh, there's a bit of a ridge there. Well, we're getting there. That's going through. Don't worry, don't think that I put them trains there for no reason. They are not there for no reason. Once I've done this part, I'm going to try and put the sides on to get the measurements on that. don't know actually. I might have done that for no reason. I just thought put the ballast on this yet. But hopefully this shouldn't take too long. Or I can actually put ballast on it. I nearly went through the cardboard, but I didn't. So I'm now going to try and tear this right here. I thought I was going through to the other side of the cardboard. No, that hasn't actually gone through properly. But it does help when you remove this layer. This is actually a piece of pea to remove. And ship the one part of it. And so it's very easy to remove. There's a box that was putting all the rubbish in there. That tells me that I did go all the way through both sides. But not all the way through the cardboard. I'm about like managed to go this deep still managed. This middle section now, this is the flimsiest piece of cardboard. This will rip like tissue paper. And what about this bit, the next layer under? That actually will just rip like tissue paper. I'm only just going through that bit, I should have gone through this. Right, yes. And you can see it's just coming off in small bits of layers. It is just literally ripping like tissue paper. And you said it would. Okay, this might be a bit thicker than what I thought. Usually this stuff does rip exactly like tissue paper. Seems to be one. There we go. Now we're getting there. I was just peeling from the wrong end a bit. Ow! That was a lug in the cardboard. That's all. Now when you're taking this last layer out, you want to go slightly underneath the cardboard and not cut through the actual last layer underneath. Is the video even playing? Yes, it is. Right, you can see what I'm doing on that bit now, so I'm going to be pausing the video just to finish this off. Right, so now we're coming to the next layer. What you want to do is you want to actually just cut underneath that bit just so it'll break apart without going through the bottom layer. I actually can't see that. That is breaking away. Yeah, that bit where all the glue is. Only. I'm not first but to dismantle that part. Just make sure that I ain't gone deep into something I don't want to be putting deep into. Yeah, that just doesn't want to come out. Oh, there we go. There we have it. Yeah, so I should be able to whip all this bit out there. Just get this out and I'll get rid of any scraggins afterwards. Now I need to cut through that again. I've gone right the way through in places. Now you don't want to pull this cardboard all the way to the other end because that end hasn't been cut. What we're trying to do is get rid of any horrible bits like this. I can't cut that bit off. It's not actually cutting anymore. So I've got no choice but to rip it off like that. I was cutting through about 3 layers of cardboard underneath there though. Not sure why. This stuff just doesn't want to cut the right place. So that's fine. Alright, we can see where this one more or less is. There should be a no problem place. Once I cut into it, it'll allow me. I think it's the Stanley blade. The Stanley blade's had it. Yeah, that's not even cutting anymore. I need a new Stanley blade. Now the way that I'm going to do this, I've still got them up here. I'm going to show you how to get the next piece of the Stanley blade off. So we've got a nice sharp blade. Give me a minute. Right, found what I was looking for. Set of these. Because obviously the blade's gone on this. What we're going to do is, we're just going to grab that piece of the blade right there and just snap it off, and it's come off a little bit awkward. But that's still usable. I'm not sure why that didn't actually snap out, it was supposed to. But I should still be able to use that. So we are going to now. Oh yes, that's much better. I ain't cutting through a little bit of cardboard. There's a blue spot there. Right, so that's that side. I think that's just a bit of fluff. Now we are going to do the same with the other side. It feels like that side's already been done. Oh no, that unlocked there then. I'll put it over in this, but though I'm not going to go here. It'll just be another video that was a complete waste of time. Like the last part of my the last part that I did of my coal hopper project. That's not finished with. That coal hopper project, I will find a way of doing what I want to do with it. This is what we want to take in thin cardboard. I'm being careful because I don't want to end up ripping it so all this ends up coming off. And we will have a problem. I'm going to be really careful ripping this from this because I don't want to rip the cardboard underneath. So then it'll be a complete pointless waste of time if this bit rips now, because that's the bit that we're trying to rescue. There we have it. I'm trying to speed this up a little because if I manage to glue the ballast down to this, I might go and have a game of Monopoly with my little brother and his girlfriend. Let's see if I can get through this. It sounds like we're just about to start again. Oh, I don't know yet. Yeah? That's one of my little brothers.
Have you got some proud?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you tell me to my coat, I think my coat's downstairs. Yeah, it's in my coat.
Oh wait. I'll go in.
So it's coming off really nice and neatly now. And when you get to the last part, it's very easy to actually just remove the cardboard. That's nice and neat. And you don't have to actually do this with just double layer cardboard, you can do this with single as well. With single it's actually easier but harder at the same time. With single cardboard you can go straight through this bit. Oh, that could have just clipped cardboard underneath there, this bit. It's actually took a bit of a layer off. Not a lot, just a bit. I need to be careful pulling this off. I have to keep remembering that. Right, let's forget this side for the moment and just concentrate on this side. When it's done, I'll be able to put the ballast down. Hopefully if I can find something, I might even lay it out where track pins can go. But I won't nail my track down, to be honest. That's why it's good to have ballast. Mark out where the track pins go, stick it into the ballast, and you just let the track rest on the ballast and let the pin just stick into the ballast so you can easily pull it out. So it stops the track from getting damaged. Because I know a lot of people actually nail their tracks down to the wood and stuff like that with the ballast. I don't see the point. So all it does when you want to take it off is ruin the tracks and stuff like that. And I think I've just ripped a hole and layer underneath. So that's not good. I don't know for sure until I actually get to it. I don't like the way that this one's lifting off. So that tells me that I have actually put... No, I haven't. I need to break away from that bit. I hate cardboard, things like this. But we're nearly there. Once I've done this, I'm just going to go and sort some things out, and then we'll put the ballast on this. I'll show you a cool way of actually doing this, so it actually lines up perfect with all the rest of it. So obviously you don't want to be seeing all this. It won't look good. Right, that was not cut through properly, I don't think. I'll have to use a standard blade to remove it. Aha, there we go. Now, I do have some stuff that I could actually use as moss as well on this. That'll give it a good feature as well. The only thing I ain't got, which is a bit annoying, is a tampering machine. So when I lay the ballast down, it's not going to actually be completely folded to the track. I'm just going to push that under there and remove that bit. I'm going to use a pencil and just push against that. So I need to get that near. Now that needs pulling out that one. There we go. When you've got something like that, you want to take it off in small sections, not big ones, because that will rip through the cardboard. These bits are just bits that have come off the other side of the cardboard. There's a bigger struggle for it to actually rip it down. That bit needs to go.
Tanya,
Oh,
you have played Monopoly with Sam?
I was just thinking that.
Something sour.
Oh. Right, I will be back to finish this video in a bit. Just a quick brief. I have been spending some time with my family. We are going to carry on with this right now, but don't know when I'll be doing the next part of this. But we are going to actually now. We have this. We are now going to put the ballast down. So give me a sec to get set up, ready to do so. Not overly ready with the setup at the moment, but I don't know whether to use Gorilla Wood Glue on this or just my standard PVA. Not PVA, sorry, my standard wood glue. I'm going to go with whichever bottle I choose. Give me a minute to get the bottles so I can have a bit of a think. Right, so here's the glues. Let's have a look at this one, because this one did mess up at one point. Oh, that's actually stayed quite nice and neat. Because this is stronger glue than the actual original wood glue, and I've hardly used any of this, we are going to use the Gorilla Glue. So give me a sec to get everything set up. Right, I'm set now to actually ready to start laying this stuff. I've got this piece of paper here for when I come to the edges, because obviously I do not want to be making a mess on this board, because I don't know if it's actually needed or not. Because this is actually that small table that I normally use when I was doing my coal hopper project, and that is there's actually two of these tables. I had the laptop on one and one on the other, but I've actually, to do this project, I've actually put a big board over the two tables. That's why you've got this. I mean, if you look here, this is one of them small tables. That's the edge of the table, and there's another one underneath there. Can't see that one that much. Oh, you can if you look over this bit. You know, I'll bring the camera closer. Just happy I'm pressing buttons and starts messing it up. You see, there is actually two of these tables. So that's the edge of the one table, and there's the edge of the other. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to ruin this board or not. I found it. It's got damage to it, but you know, you never know when something might come in handy. Now, as I says in probably one of my videos, I don't know if I've said it or not, but I don't actually use wood for this stuff. I mean, I can do. I mean, I have used matchsticks actually on my engine shed. I think I showed that in one of my videos. But I tend to use cardboard because it's easy to work with and it makes a good job. We are now opening up this Gorilla Glue, and we are going to pour some Gorilla Glue there. That's about enough to work with for now. I'm going to show you how to lay ballast in a good way where I'm actually using real ballast and not the fake stuff that you buy. All I've done with the real ballast is crushed it up. If you look on a railway line, you know, I've said this a few times I think, but if you look on a railway line, you can actually see which rocks are ballast and which are not, because you don't want your ballast to be just one certain rock, because ballast is actually a mixture of rocks. If you use just normal rock on a ballast, if you've got a tampering machine, it will not work as well with normal ballast if you want it to work properly. Now, I've looked into some of these tampering machines. They not exactly do what real tampering machines do. They actually move the ballast. They actually dig into the ballast. Now, obviously, the tampering machine is actually to bring the sleepers above the ballast to keep it in a certain level so it doesn't sink into the ground as trains go past. That's what ballast is actually for. Right, this is where this piece of paper comes in, because as you can see I'm spreading this. I'm going to have to put this piece of paper here. We're going to start with this end of the station. This is actually going to be a train station. That's why I'm going to put this video under my train station project. This train station is going to have working lights and everything. But if you're a bit of a cheapskate like I am, sorry for laughing at that, but it is quite funny. I am a little bit of a cheapskate. But for decoration, you don't have to pay much at all. And if people want to get into this hobby, my videos are the ones to be looking at, because you can. I mean, I know it only costs time and effort, but it doesn't cost money. Now, to get money can cost time and effort. I mean, when this train station's finished, I've built things before and that where people have actually offered me money. But I struggle to trust people, so I struggle to actually sell. I need like legit sites. I mean, it's like on eBay. I would not try and sell something on eBay. I mean, I know a lot of people do, but eBay can easily do you over. Now, as I says, I've put the Gorilla Glue down. I've got real ballast, which I've crushed up myself. Some of them rocks need crushing a little bit more. This is a way of crushing some of these rocks if they're too lumpy. You just get this, find the big lumps, and as you can hear, I'm crushing some of those rocks. I found one that's not easily crushed. Yeah, that's going to have to be done separate. I haven't crushed this up that well, but I've crushed it up good enough to look like ballast. So find a nice piece like I just have. No, not crushing that. Oh, it was just dust. But you can actually hear some of them crushing. This is another way of actually crushing it when you crush it up with a hammer, as I did in my coal hopper project. Which those videos when I was actually making the ballast was a complete waste of time, but I did say that I was going to make ballast. Right, I'll put some down. That's quite a big lump. I'm going to pick out lumps, put them to one side, because I don't want the ballast too rockery. See, like them are too big, some of those. I'm going to get these on there. The bigger pieces seem to be coming out first, rather than the smaller pieces. So I'm just honestly, if I was to go and get one of my locomotive drivers, this rock, they wouldn't even be able to pick that up. Ballast you can pick up, because a ballast rock is no bigger than your actual hand. What I was hoping to get from this is the dust. I need a sieve really, but we're going to use this anyway. I'll knock some of the big pieces off and then crush them up. But the smaller pieces will fall between the bigger rocks. I didn't crush this up properly. So I'm going to remove that rock there, that one. There is plenty of ballast inside here. Oh no, that one collapses down, that's not too big. We'll get some of these big ones and we're going to crush some of these big ones. I probably should have crushed this up a bit more. What I really need, and I have been for years now looking into actually one of these, building an actual rock crusher, a miniature version that really crushes rocks. Unfortunately, that would be the size of the rock that I'd have to put into it because of it being miniature form. I mean, if I had, for the equal size of the trains, as you can see the trains over this side here, if I'd move that, the equal size of the trains, you look at some of these rocks, it's going to take about 2 people to actually pick up one of these for equal size to the trains. When I've moved some of these rocks and crushed them up into dust, you'll see the different variety in the rocks. As you can see, if this was an O gauge, which I use double O, if this was an O gauge, this ballast would be perfect. I reckon. Can't say that because I've never actually collected O gauge, but an O gauge track is practically the same width as this, in my eyes. As a matter of fact, we're going to go from O gauge. No, O gauge is probably that width. Well, I'm going to be pausing the video again in a minute because you can see what I'm doing with this. You're going to see me crush some of these rocks smaller. You're going to see some of the ballast left on there as the glue's drying. I'm just getting rid of all the loose bits. Because these rocks are too big to be ballast. I want to push up some of these. I want to brush off some of the excess from that. God damn it, I just dropped on straight in the pot. I paid absolutely nothing for this ballast. Remember that. Time and effort. No problem. So I'm crushing these rocks, so all they're doing is going smaller. Yeah, it might seem like dust, but that's what you want it to be, technically. Just for equal size to the trains.
There's nobody in the bathroom, get out.
It's my little brother, he's one that I've been playing Monopoly with. Huh? There's 2 locomotives there. You don't need to whisper. Freaking hell. Oh god damn it, I just dropped under the rock straight in there. What I'm doing is laying ballast. Trying to do it on video. As you can see with what I'm doing, this is how you make ballast. As you can see, there is different rocks, that's why some of it is tougher to crush than others. You do not want one certain rock on ballast. That's what I was mentioning about the tampering machine. With this ballast, there is soft rock and tough rock. The tough rock is what holds the track up. The soft rock is what lets the tamper push down into the rocks to bring it up. That's why you always see the rocks actually looking sort of like as if they've been crushed up. They haven't been crushed up, they've just been chipped and stuff and put to the side by a tampering machine. And the reason why I know this is because I've looked at the rocks on railways, and I've seen that there's a various variety. Every single rock I've used on here I've found on a train track as ballast. There's been many a times where I've made ballast. This is not my first batch of ballast I have made. I have made tons of this stuff. But unfortunately, some of it either got left behind or thrown away. Not by me. I'm on about the thrown away part on that. The left behind part, I can put my hand into the category of that. Because on the format of things being left behind, I've had vehicles, trains and all sorts get left behind. It's mainly through moving house and that. I've had a bit of a tough time with life. I'll have to give my bedroom a clean and hoover up. But you can see what I'm doing. I mean, some of them big rocks, they won't stick to that. But the small rocks underneath, what I want for the ballast, will work. As you can see, some of the rock that I'm crushing is just literally crumbling. That's known as the soft rock. I mean, in real life, I mean, if you watched in my coal hopper project when I was actually crushing the rock, some of it was easy to crush, some of it was not. But not one of it is a rock that's actually, and the way I'm crushing some of these, you'd think, oh, that's just sandstone. Don't use sandstone on the rails. I haven't picked up any rock that was sandstone. Sandstone is easy to configure because you only have to hit it once with a hammer and it will break. Every single rock I've used, I had to hit sort of more than once with the break. I mean, when I say hit it once with, if you would hit a sandstone with a hammer, it wouldn't just split, you'd actually make a dent in the rock. And it'll just turn to actual powder. And we don't want powder, we want rocks. So the difference in that one, this one's probably going to be even tougher than that one that I just did. But yes, it was. Because because of me being a train enthusiast all my life, and with the mind that I've got, I actually don't just see one certain part of something. I see the whole lot. I inspect how the tracks work. I mean, years ago, my mum used to live in a house where there was a railway at the back of the house, and you could actually, from the garden, get down there because the house had been neglected, and you could actually get onto the railway. Now, there was a switch point on that railway, and me, knowing what I was doing, I actually switched the switch point. As soon as I heard a train coming, I put the switch point exactly to how I found it, because I knew if I'd left it the other way, because it was a two-way railway, if I'd left the switch point open and let the train go onto the one side of the track, it would have hit into another train. Not exactly where the house was. It would have been further on down the lane, because where the train track that was actually being used, it was actually very rare that you actually saw a passenger train go past. But you did see passenger trains go past. But I actually sat up at the back of that garden for about, I think it was at least 2 hours watching a train go by. I can't remember. It was one of the diesels, but I can't exactly say what class of diesel it was because I can't remember, because there was that many going past. But what I always kept my eyes out for was a shunter, a Class 08 shunter, but I never actually seen one of those go past. And I always wanted to see one. I wanted to see a shunter, but these trains, these freight trains, as people say, oh, freight trains go slow and that. No, this one had to go slow for the amount it was carrying. I mean, believe it or not, but the diesels that I kept seeing go past, I know can reach up to about 90 miles per hour. These wasn't even reaching past 20. And all there was is the hours and hours and hours of wagons going past. And then you had these trains that friggin' come past really, really fast. And they was usually the passenger trains. I'm going to say really fast, over 100 miles per hour. I mean, I won't say I'm a train spotter and stuff like that, but if I'm near a railway, I will like to have a look at the trains for real life. But because I could actually access the railway track, I did used to go and play on it. As soon as I heard a train coming, I'd move out the way of it and make sure that nothing could come in collision with that train. Because of collecting trains and knowing how they work, I knew exactly what I was doing with the railway. So you might the way people could have looked at me as if I was a danger to the railway and that, for the way that I used to play on it. I mean, I used to actually pick up the ballast and throw it at the overhead cables. Yeah, because electric trains went past there as well. And believe it or not, if you actually hit the cable with the rock, it would actually go, and you could actually hear the electricity going through it. And that was actually pretty bang on to the noise. But if you ever play on a railway, do take precaution. That's all I can say on that. Just do take precaution. Don't try and see what would happen. Try and look at the positives and negatives before you actually try and experiment with the rail. Because for all you know, if you're messing about with the rails and messing about with switch points and that, and you set it to the wrong category, you could be causing an accident and causing a lot of people to become very injured, or worse, death. And that's a fact. I mean, I seen a pipe the one day because everyone knew that I used to go onto the railway and I got told not to go on there. I seen a pipe on there once and I had to mention to someone that the pipe was on there. And instead of me going down and moving it, someone else did. Luckily enough, no train had gone over it or anything like that. It was only a plastic pipe. I mean, the train probably would have just ripped through it. But you never know. A piece of plastic could have got caught in the brakes and something like that and caused the brakes to fuck up or something. Got to be careful with what things could do. I mean, I've got to admit, I did try and get things crushed by some of the trains because of how slow they was going. If it's a fast one, I knew for a fact it would bounce off the rail before the train even got near it. I mean, I used to try and put coins on the rail to try and get it run over. I actually managed to make a success once with a slow freight train. And believe it or not, but it actually pressed the coin right into the rail. I couldn't even move it from the rail. It was stuck there. I wouldn't recommend doing it unless if you know exactly what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Because if you end up putting something on the rail and you actually get it tied down to the rail, you don't know what havoc that could cause. I mean, I knew ways of actually getting a train to run over this coin. I mean, I could have easily superglued it to the rail. But if I superglued it to the rail, what's to say that as the train went over it the first time for how fast it was going, wouldn't break away the glue and flick it up into the components and causing problems. As I said, I've had a bit of a life, and when I say that I've really looked into trains and that, I really have. That's how I know what ballast is. So I always used to look at the ballast and I was always like, yeah, that rock's different to that one, that one's different to that one. And then I concluded, when I saw tampering machines, how the rocks are different and why they are different. So if a tampering machine was to hit a hard rock, it could literally break it. But if it's got soft rock underneath it and the pressures of the tamper push down into that rock, it will just crush the soft rock, leaving the hard rock so we can bring it above the rails, above the ballast, to not let rocks get in the way of the flange of the wheels of the trains. Because if a flange hits one of them rocks and it was a tough rock, it could cause the flange to break, which could lead to derailment. That was my conclusion. This is only theory, what I'm saying. But this theory seems very accurate, and most of my theories are. I mean, I was at one of my courses that I do, because I do take courses and that. That one of my courses, and I was mentioning about theories of what I've got on that, and a person said, alright then, what's your most accurate theory? And it took me a while to think, and then it came to me. A volcano, why they've all gone dormant and stuff like that. People say that these plates under the earth move about and push up and it causes a volcanic eruption. I can't see that happening. But what I can see is that fuel gets taken out of the ground. And I reckon when the fire hits the fuel, obviously, you put a flame to fuel it, causing an explosion. The reason why all the volcanoes have actually gone dormant is because that fuel has been taken out of the ground to use on motor cars and stuff like that. Okay, petrol, diesel, all that stuff. and it stopped the volcanic eruptions. I don't think some of these volcanoes are actually just dormant. I think that they're actually technically dead. Unfortunately, yes, you can still see the lava at the bottom of them because the core of the Earth is a big ball of fire. So there's an accurate theory. Because how else can you explain a volcanic eruption and how they've gone dormant? I've technically just explained it. We've took all the fuel out, they can't explode. So think about that next time you're doing a science project and they're saying about these plates that move around in the Earth. Yeah, of course there's going to be plates moving around in the Earth. There's rocks that will probably float on top of the lava. But can anyone get close enough to the centre of the Earth to actually see this happen? No, they cannot. They will burn to death. Yeah, they might send drones and stuff down there, and all they've done is made it based upon theory as well. But my theory is most accurate because I've actually explained why volcanoes have gone dormant, is what they're saying. I'm probably one of the most theoretical people that you could come across. Because I don't just see things as how other people see. I see things for what they truly are. And that's how I know what ballast is, because I've seen it for what it truly is. And explained why it's that way. Ballast is not just one rock, it is several different rocks. I mean, there's a reason why not to use sandstone in ballast. Because as I say, as you hit sandstone with a hammer, it will crush very, very easily. Now you imagine a 10,000 ton train going over that sandstone, it's just got to push straight in and sink. Going back to Richard Trevithick's Catch Me Who Can, which was technically the first train ever built, but it wasn't actually legit because the tracks kept on sinking. Because of how heavy the locomotive was. I mean, it didn't seem that heavy at first, but when he put it together, which makes sense, because he hadn't put the water in or anything like that. As soon as you put the water in, that locomotive went from about, say, 3 tons to, say, 24 gallons of water. That's going to make it about 8 tons. Because it was only a little engine. It was smaller than Catch Me If You Can was smaller than I can't say smaller than the Stephenson's rocket. It was equal size to the Stephenson's rocket, but the boiler was a bit bigger. It was equal size to I found this train set, the Dewitt Clinton. It was equal size to that. I'm not sure if it's accurate or not, but I think the Dewitt Clinton was based upon Richard Trevithick's Catch Me Who Can. Nobody knows of that train. Hardly. Because there is no historian. The only way that you'll find out about that train is if you actually look up Richard Trevithick. This is how well I know trains. I can actually go to the very first locomotive, which once again was built by Richard Trevithick. Now, a lot of people say that George Stephenson built the first train. Yes, that is actually accurate. He did build the first train, but he never built the first locomotive. Because trains didn't go into production until after the events of 1829, where George Stephenson's rocket actually won every single event of the Era 1s. But then when Era 2 came in, it took over George Stephenson's rocket. Then error 3, error 4, and about error 5, that's when George Stephenson's rocket became a thing of the past. Not Richard Trevithick, George Stephenson's rocket became a thing of the past. Because there was locomotives that was doing the jobs 10 times better. But George Stephenson didn't actually stop there with the rocket. He actually passed it down to his son Robert Stephenson. Now Robert Stephenson, because he didn't know much what to do really, he actually started building trains so that we could actually get stuff imported from other countries. He actually started, Robert Stephenson started building trains and locomotives for America, going back to era 1, but not knowing that America actually picked up on, because obviously news got about in papers and stuff like that, and most of it was transported by boat. America knew about these locomotives, and then I can't think of his name, but the first steam locomotive was actually made in America, and it was cool. It wasn't cool because a lot of them was called this, to be honest. It was known as an iron horse because it went back to Richard Trevithick, because when he built the Catch Me Who Can, it was big news, and it all got sent over by paper. But unfortunately there wasn't technology about as much as there is today, so no one knew exactly what was actually going on. But Robert Stephenson made success with selling locomotives to America. And then years later, in the era 5 stuff, one of the era 5s, because knowing that locomotives was being sold to America, someone tried to actually make a difference and try and bring America and Britain closer, and he sent the Flying Scotsman over there. Unfortunately, not knowing what dangers lurked ahead and all sorts and stuff like that, and how much it was going to cost and stuff like that, unfortunately the Flying Scotsman actually got left over in America. Years later after that, someone, because the Flying Scotsman is actually a very famous train, it's actually famous for actually breaking the 100 mile per hour record. It's not the world's fastest steam train, it just broke the record of 100 mile per hour. Someone found out that it was actually still stuck over America, managed to find it and bring it back home. It now actually sits in a museum, and I believe it's the Museum of London Transport. And alongside it is a fair few other locomotives. That's quite weird. I believe that the locomotive, I think, I'm giving off the top of my head here, it might be the opposite way around, but I'm going to say to the right of the, facing frontwards to the right is the Orient Express locomotive. Now the Orient Express is not actually a locomotive. The Orient Express is actually a train, but the original locomotive that pulled it stands next to the Flying Scotsman. Because it's like this. Let's say, yeah, this Drummond M7, this is what's pulling these Southern Region coaches. And let's say that this is the Southern Express with the Drummond M7. I remove that locomotive, that is now just a locomotive, it's just the Drummond M7. You've got the 3 coaches there, which would still be called the Southern Express. People need to know the difference between a train and a locomotive. That's why you get DMUs nowadays and EMUs, which is multiple units. Now, I've actually seen this done in real life. And then multiple units, they're not just the one unit that drives. This is why I need DCC, because I'm looking into actually getting some of these multiple units and making them work how they are supposed to. They're multiple units. They don't just have one drive unit. It's a multiple unit. Every single unit on that train drives. And I've seen this done, because I went to Wales once, and I mean, I walked a majority of the way, but someone paid for me to get on a train. I didn't even know much about this happening with trains, because I'm more into the older stuff than anything. I had to be moved from one car to the other, and I was thinking, why? And he explained why. The train was going to split, and it did. I was actually on a 2-carriage train, what it would seem, but it wasn't 2 carriages, it was 2 units. As soon as the train split, one unit went one way, and the other unit went the other way. A multiple unit, every single unit on there is a drive unit. These are just facts that I know about trains. And that was a fact. I wanted to watch the train actually split, because I didn't know that they do this. I wanted to watch through the window and asked the person who was splitting the train if he could remind me, tell me when it was going to split, just so I could see this happen. He never told me. And before I knew it, I arrived at the station, and I knew he was telling the truth, because when I got off the train, there was only one car. There wasn't 2, there was only one car. So there's a bit of facts about trains. If you want to know about trains, I can tell you more than what you would think. I mean, believe it or not, but I've actually recently discovered that America has multiple units, but they don't actually work the same way as ours. I mean, I saw on eBay, it was quite pricey, I couldn't afford it, and I was wondering why these coaches was that much, because one of them was motorised. But I have actually seen on YouTube videos of American trains and that, where it just looks like a set of coaches driving down the track. They don't actually use multiple units. They have one drive unit and leave the coaches like that. Just I think it's just for the look. I can't actually explain that one, why they actually do that. But there is a lot of stuff about trains that people don't know, and most people just don't seem to take any notice. They have no idea of what trains are actually capable of. I mean, people look at all these deliveries that they get. How do they get those deliveries? This is why I don't just do trains. I do all sorts of vehicles. Especially when it comes to the horse and cart. Because if it wasn't for horse and carts, trains wouldn't have actually existed. So that's where the idea for a train came from, was a horse and cart. Now, as I said about trains and locomotives, there's a difference. Obviously, the locomotive for a train didn't come from horses at all. It actually came from a kettle. A boiling steam kettle. Because of how it could push the thing, Richard Trevithick, bloody hell, I said the name a little bit sloppy there. Richard Trevithick actually boiled the kettle, and you could see that the end on the kettle, when it whistled, because they used the old-fashioned steam kettles, When it boiled, he could see that it pushed a lever up. Now he channeled that lever to actually spin a wheel. His actual first motor, this is why it's not known as a locomotive, his first motor was actually just a spinning wheel. It was actually the world's fastest threshing machine. The world's first, not fastest, sorry, world's first threshing machine. And all it done was turned cotton into yarn, which from the cotton to yarn could make wool. Well, people was doing that by hand anyway, but he found a faster way to do it. So his first machine was actually a spinning wheel, is what people would know it as. But the proper name for it is actually a threshing machine. A thresher doesn't just it is not just a one-purpose machine, because he could use that machine for actually stripping wheat from wheat plants. Because of how the wheel spun, he could actually power up threshing machines. All he had to do was move a cam belt from the spinning wheel to a threshing machine, and that's how what they're actually really known as station engines. That's all he built was a stationary engine, and the reason why they called it a stationary engine because it could do more than one job with no power. So there's a bit of history for you. I mean, it was through engines that the tumble dryer ended up coming through. Because years ago they used to use the mangle to dry clothes. Nowadays you can actually use a tumble dryer. No, nowadays we've got a modified technology. But in the time space that I'm saying, you had the tumble dryer. People, this is why trains are so fascinating. Because if it wasn't for trains, no one would know about engines. Because it was actually Richard Tretherick who actually built the very first road vehicle, as well as the first railed vehicle. Because his railed vehicle is why it couldn't be called a train, because it used different rails. But he didn't know how to steer it, but he come up with a plan to steering vehicles for the road. This is before traction engines, well before. But it was actually, I think it was Fowler who actually, no, sorry, the inventor of Case, sorry, who actually built the first traction engine. Case was the very first traction engine. But Richard Tretherick was building vehicles well before that. He started out with railed vehicles, but then he come up with an idea to actually steer a vehicle, and he made the Puffing Devil. Now, Puffing Devil, if you actually look that up, it's a very strange machine, and I've seen people drive this on YouTube, and they struggle to steer it because the steering wheel is not in one sturdy place. You can move the steering wheel freely around, but to actually steer you have to twist it. Now you think that that's jolting across cobbles and all sorts. You're jolting with the steering wheel. As I seen this going down the road, it was fishtailing because it wasn't front steering. It was rear steering, but you couldn't actually hold on to the steering properly. And Case took on the experiment looked at how horse and cart steer, and they built a long bar that steered, and it was actually very hard to actually steer at first because there was a very few experiments where they didn't work before Case made the first traction engine. This is only theory, remember. Their traction engine, they had to make a wheel that actually pushed other cogs so it was easier to turn the wheel. And the Case tractor was born in 1828. That's a fact. I believe it's 1828. That is a fact. Case built the first tractor in 1828. Steam-powered traction engine is what people call them. Well, I've noticed that there is actually a difference between a tractor and a traction engine. A tractor is used for agriculture. A traction engine is not. A traction engine is to power fair rides. So when you actually see a steam-powered vehicle, don't think automatically it's a traction engine. You could be looking at a tractor or a traction engine. And the reason why a fairground ride was known as a traction engine, because it gave the fairground rides traction. Now it can be done with a steam-powered tractor. The only problem is, with a steam-powered tractor, it's a little bit more dangerous than an actual traction engine. Because with a tractor, to actually power up some of the machines and that, you'd have to remove cam belts, or all this, that and the other. On a traction engine, you actually did not have to remove the cam belt as such. All you had to do was switch it from one piece to the other. On a tractor did more than a traction engine, because you could power up fairground rides with a tractor. But a tractor could plough. It could go across really muddy fields and all sorts. With a traction engine, because of the wheels that they used, because they wanted it to work on road. This is the actual difference right now. A steam-powered tractor has metal wheels. A traction engine does not. It has rubber-tired metal wheels. You try and drive that rubber tyre over mud and all sorts, you would sink. On the steam tractors, on their metal wheels, they had metal blades which could tear through the mud and stop it from sinking. It worked like a steamboat propeller. Now, when they made steamboats, this is where it comes tricky, because wasn't the steamboat made before any road vehicle? Yes, it was. But how did that steamboat actually work? That steamboat didn't actually work off actual steam. It worked from something completely different. Yes, they stoked up a coal fire and burnt coal as such, and done all the same things, but the only difference is that steam engine didn't actually push the propellers. It pulled them rather than actually pushing them. That's why on a steamboat you actually have more engine than anything. It wasn't just straightforward where it just pushes it round. It actually pulled them backwards. And you had to put the engine in reverse to pull it forwards. That scenario would not work on road vehicles because of it being pulled rather than pushed. If you'd put the boat on a land, you would not spin the propellers, but you'd burn a lot of steam. And it was technically impossible to actually blow the boiler on a steam-powered boat. As I said, it was Richard Trevithick who actually came up with the idea for building a steam engine from a kettle. Those steamboats, I mean, yes, they did do serve a fair bit, but they weren't actually reliable. The only thing that made it seem reliable, because a lot of people actually tried to build steamload vehicles and all sorts, there was no success because of the pistons being pulled rather than pushed. Richard Trevithick actually come up with the idea to push the propellers, push the pistons. A pulled piston, you had to actually spin the propellers for it to actually grab hold of the pulled steam rather than pushed. For it to grab the steam so it could be pulled rather than pushed. So technically, them steamboats, they didn't actually work exactly off steam. They were technically pedal power. You had to get the propellers rolling. But I think it was because Richard Trevithick's Colebrook Dow locomotive was made in 1809. Because of him making that road vehicle, boats became better and could actually now serve water really, really well. Because I think the first steam powered boat was 1783, which is going well older before even road vehicles came. 1784, sorry, everyone gets this confused. Right, Richard Trevithick's Colebrook Dow locomotive was made in 1803. It was a steamboat that was made in 1784, and everyone thinks that Richard Trevithick's Colebrook Dow locomotive was made in 1804, but it wasn't. It was actually 1803. It just wasn't used on the rails until used as a vehicle until 1804. But he did actually complete it in 1803, but it took him ages to actually get it up and running for people to actually see what it was capable of. I mean, you think back then no one had ever seen anything like this. They wouldn't take any knowledge as such. It took him ages to actually get someone to actually see what this thing was capable of. But anyway, back to the steamboat. I think, I've lost conversation sort of thing. I was going back to the steamboat. Yeah, the propellers being pulled, not pushed. So obviously, yeah, Richard Trevithick's Colebrook Dow locomotive was made in 1803. Didn't get it up and running until 1804. But when someone actually figured out that he was actually pushing the pistons rather than pulling them, they started making boats bigger and better. And about 18 I think it was 1809, they created the Titanic. And in 1812 it sunk. It was supposed to be very unsinkable, because they could actually push heavier loads across. I think because of the boats being wooden, of the steam powered boats, that's why they had to use pull power rather than push. Because if they push the power, obviously it's like a steam engine, because a steam engine is made of metal, not wood. I've mentioned in some of my other videos, if you don't turn the pressures down right, you'll blow the boiler. Now you imagine that on a wooden boat, how dangerous that could be. It's very dangerous. It wouldn't blow the boiler or anything like that. It would just literally disintegrate the boat and send it to flames. Now, how they use coal on them wooden boats, the only thing that was actually able to hold the coal was not even metal itself, it was made of brick. It's technically a barbecue. Or, as you want to put it, an old-fashioned coal chimney. So Richard Trevithick, who actually got steam engines to work really well. But then years later, somewhere in Germany, I can't remember who actually did it, made the very first diesel engine. Now, it's a funny story. I've got to go to the toilet. I'll come back to this story. I'll remember this. And the reason why I'll remember it is because it is actually a quite good story. Right, I'm back. Right, as I was going to say, after all that bit of speech, somewhere in Germany, the first combustion engine came out. And people think, oh, it's going to go on about combustion engines, it's going to be petrol. No. If people actually look into what a real combustion engine is, a combustion engine means that you can actually electrically start it or make it combust. It's spontaneous combustion. The actual engine was made of was run by diesel. It was the very first diesel engine. And you're going to think, oh, now I'm going into cars and that. No. It's going back to Richard Trevithick because he built a stationary engine. The very first diesel combustion engine was technically the same thing. It was a stationary engine. And it ran a factory. And the way that they started, they actually had a bit of diesel at the bottom or something, and this thing presses down and it causes a spark and just lights up the engine, known as spontaneous combustion. Because I've had arguments with people about diesel engines being combustion engines or not. People don't know exactly, from what I've heard lately nowadays, people don't know what a combustion engine is. I need to look into spontaneous combustion to see what really a combustion engine is. It means that you don't need to actually put a naked flame to it. You can actually just spontaneously create a flame and it will combust. Hence, spontaneous combustion. As I said, I've looked into a lot of things. By the way, what I just said there wasn't theory, it's fact. But then, in Germany, because they heard about the Flying Scotsman hitting the 100-mile-per-hour barrier, this is where competition actually comes in. Now, which is possibly what could have started World War I. They tried to actually make a train go, make the world's fastest steam engine. Unfortunately, it didn't actually work out very well because Sir Nigel Gresley, he made the fastest steam engine, and it was a Class A4 Mallard, and it wasn't Britain's fastest engine, it was the world's fastest steam engine. And yet, there are still competitors out there trying to still make the world's fastest steam engine. People have given up on it nowadays, but from about 1928 to about sorry, not 1928. Hold on. Yeah, sorry, from about 1820 to 1930, people still tried to actually beat the world's fastest steam engine. Couldn't do it. Now, I have no theory, no facts on how Sir Nigel Gresley actually built the A4 to be the world's fastest steam engine. I have no idea what he did. But I do have one small theory, but it's not accurate because it doesn't make any sense. Because it's got the same wheel connectors as the Flying Scotsman, but all I know, it's probably got something to do with the pressure gauges I have no idea on how he actually did it. But 134 mile per hour? That's fast for a steam engine. Now that 134 mile per hour, that's fact. That's exactly what I've looked up and how fast it actually can go. With carriages, it'll do 129. I think, wait there, is that right? Yeah, do 129. Now, when the Flying Scotsman actually broke the 100 mile per hour barrier, it actually just run on its own, no coaches. But I've got to admit, that's what the Flying Scotsman's actually famous for, breaking the 100 mile per hour barrier. When it had coaches on it, it could still reach up to a good 94 mile per hour with coaches. Well, I should say with its actual train, which the train was called the Flying Scotsman. The locomotive is actually a Class A1. That's going back to when I was on about trains being different from locomotives. The locomotive was the Class A1. It had the Flying Scotsman logo on it. But the actual original train that actually pulled the Flying Scotsman was actually a smaller engine. But because of the Class A1 breaking the 100 mile per hour barrier, they allowed that to pull the Flying Scotsman. If people had heard half of the stuff I know about trains, they'd be like, yo, I didn't realise that trains was actually like that. There's a difference between a train and a locomotive. Well, believe it or not, an EMU and a DMU does not have a locomotive. An EMU and a DMU is just a straightforward train. But what makes it different to having a locomotive is the train itself is powered. A DMU is powered by diesel and EMU is powered by electric. They are known as a DMU is known as a diesel multiple unit, and an EMU is known as an electric multiple unit. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, they're like cars and that. How did the car start out? Well, how did they configure to get in a car? They went through locomotives to tractors, from tractors to bicycles, from bicycles to motorcycles, and then once again Germany created the first automobile, a car, which was the Benz Duesenberg. And people don't know the exact date on that, but I've actually concluded that the Duesenberg was actually made in 1886. Fact. It's like Richard Trevithick's Colebrook Tower locomotive. No one knows the true time of that. It was 1803. It's like the Holden tank. People think that the story lives on of the Holden tank, of what James Alexander Holden built. They think that his locomotive only lived on through Hornby. No, that's actually incorrect. Hornby have actually made the locomotive pretty bang on to how it was. His experiment didn't work out very well. I will say that his locomotive was scrapped in was it 1809 or 1909? I think it was 1909. It was scrapped, but where the other locomotives come from, where Hornby is actually recreated, someone actually pulled it out of scrap. They actually removed it from the scrapyard and rebuilt it back up as the coal burner, as what it was actually put down as. They removed the connecting rods, that's why it wasn't known as the Holden tank anymore, because it had been modified, so they couldn't call it the Holden tank. But that locomotive is still about somewhere. It's just had its number changed that many times, its livery changed that many times. Nobody knows it's a Holden tank. I mean, the Santa Express. Yes, it is the actual Holden tank. But that was actually done up for a charity. That train actually exists. Well, did exist. Well, the locomotive still exists. The train possibly still exists. I don't know, because there's been many of them charity trains. Many of them. That's what it was for. It ended up coming from charity. I mean, believe it or not, but the coaches, when it actually became a passenger train, but it only had a short span of a passenger train, because the person who pulled it out the scrapper was actually told the story of James Holden's idea. It got pulled out for quite a while, but unfortunately, Great Western Railways couldn't actually. No, sorry, it was actually built for another railway, but couldn't actually hold on to it because they had already. By the time it actually reached them, they already had too many locomotives and trains going in and out. It was just taking up too much space, so it probably run for about a year and a half. Guessing a year and a half. But that locomotive ended up going back to the Great Western Railways because of the train that was taken from it. Because ended up going back to where Swindon Works with was the locomotive that had no passenger carriages or anything like that. But there is another train that's known as the Caledonian Local. Now that's from Scotland. It's Southern Rails, or CR, which is Caledonian Rails. That locomotive ended up being sold to London's Transport. Who am I talking about? My video. I'm doing a video.
Well, I don't want to be on your video.
Don't be on my video then?
Well, I'm going to be on your video either way.
No, you're not. Why? Where are you going?
To the toilet.
You're not going to be on my video? It's not even pointing at you. Oh, I forgot what. Yeah, I was on about the Caledonian Railway, but the Caledonian Local ended up being sold to London Transport. Now, London Transport didn't just buy on the locomotive and put it in their museum, and that it actually run a service for a short span of time under the London, Midland and Scottish Railways. It was actually repainted in LMS. Possibly renumbered, not too sure about that. But the coaches that the Caledonian Local pulled, because GWR wanted to keep the Holden tank, they actually bought the coaches off the Caledonian Local and repainted them in Great Western Railways livery, and they sent the Holden tank with the coaches of the Caledonian Local. Once again, only had a short span before it actually became the Santa Express, because I thought that locomotive is just sitting around most of the time. They ended up getting rid of it. What has happened to it since? Nobody knows. I do have a theory that I believe it was possibly sold to America by Robert Stevenson. No, by Robert Stevenson. You're going to end up being my video standing there. I'll see ya.
What's that in there?
Bricks.
What are your bricks?
Because it's ballast. Goes under the rail. Fortunately, I haven't crushed it up properly.
Still got your cards?
Yep.
Where are they?
In my back pocket.
Oh, you slept with them?
Huh?
You slept with them?
What do you mean slept with them?
You slept them out your pocket when you went to sleep?
No. But I did take my socks and my jumper off.
That's nice to know.
Yeah, well, stop asking weird questions.
I'm not asking you a question.
That sounds weird questions to
No,
me.
I'm just asking you. Because if you left them downstairs, me and Sam would have stolen them.
Maybe.
Not maybe.
Oh yeah, I think they've been cheating at Monopoly. That's the cards that I'm on about. Monopoly cards. I've been doing quite well on Monopoly. You know what? I'm going to try and crunch some of this. Oh. I'm going to have to start crunching on this. As you can see, that is going to look good and proper for ballast. Don't worry, the ballast is not going to just be looking like this. I am going to put bits of moss in places. Possibly down the edging side. Right, that can stay like that. I'm going to put these back in here a bit and give them a good crunch. So I can still see quite some big lumps. What I really could do with is a sieve. Yeah, there you go, there's a bit of history about trains. So when next time you look at a train, think of how they evolved. And not just, oh, it's just something that someone invented and made it run on tracks. I mean, I could be classed as a historian, but I'm not actually a historian. But I will tell you something. The history of a lot of stuff that's gone on in this world has a lot of meaning. There is history out there that is dark history. As I was mentioning, going into wars and that. Now, I'm not too big on war, but unfortunately, I can't actually ignore it because war happened. It can happen again. So think about that one as well. Next time you think, oh, trains are boring, they're just things that go round on a track. No, they are not. If it wasn't for trains, there'd be no such thing as eBay. If it wasn't for trains, there'd be no such thing as Amazon. If it wasn't for trains, half of the stuff that people know about today probably wouldn't even got across the world. Because a train can actually move something across the world faster than a boat, believe it or not. You can actually travel from England to America by train. It's going to be pricey, I will say that, it will be pricey, but it can be done. And the reason why it would be pricey because you have to catch more than one train. You'd have to catch a train from here to France, from France to Germany, from Germany to I don't need to look on the map. I think it's Russia. And then you can get from Russia to America. I think, or no, you have to go through India and the Middle East and all that stuff first. It can be done. I mean, there is a program that's been put on TV. I have watched it sort of. It's not my exactly cup of tea, but it's travel around the world by train. And it does it 10 times faster than boats, because unfortunately, yeah, I know a boat can sound faster than a train, but it's not, because a boat is actually measured in knots, where a train is measured in either kilometres or mile per hour. Believe it or not, but I've actually seen videos on YouTube where boats have actually carried trains across the country, aka the Flying Scotsman. As I said, it ended up getting sent over to America. They took it over there by boat. Who knows what whales actually lurk about nowadays? No one takes any notice of that stuff. You've got the underground channel, which the underground channel is the one that leads from Britain to France. How they actually can figure it out to moving across to other countries, I'm not 100% sure. All I know is you can actually travel around the world by train. It is possible nowadays. Oh Christ! I know what countries I've missed out. Denmark and all them places. You can get from Europe to Switzerland by train. Oh, Switzerland's in Europe. Wait, I'd need to look on a map to know exactly where the rails actually go. It doesn't actually show up on a map, but for the stuff that I've looked into on this, you'd be amazed of how they actually travel around. Right. I'm not getting much of this crushed up properly. I'm just going to work with this. Oh, I've got Gorilla Glue there. Oh no. We have a problem. I've solved that problem. Alright, the cardboard got stuck to the paper. As you can see, that's not bad. I'm just working on this bit at the moment. Right, where's the Gorilla Glue? There.
Oh, you might have to wait until we come back actually. On the pub. Me and Mum and Tommy and Doddy's going to the pub.
Why am I invited?
Because I offered them to, they won't allow me.
What do you mean they won't allow me?
Because I did and Mum won't allow me. You have to wait until I get back and we drink vodka.
Okay, okay.
I'm going for vodka because it's £22.
Right, Sam. It's alright. I have actually had a drink today. Not gonna lie about it. I am a little bit tipsy, but it doesn't stop me from doing work. So I want to finish my auntie's birdhouse because I've been building a birdhouse for my auntie. I was gonna suggest putting. Well, I think I might have suggested putting it on video and that, but for how much I've actually built of it, it was kind of pointless. So I'm hoping to get that finished tonight. Well, today. And I'm gonna go round my auntie's tomorrow.
Yeah?
I'm talking to my viewers on here. I'm gonna pause this a minute. Right, I've actually just put a few more rocks down there. I'm gonna let that dry. I'm coming off video for a bit. Alright, I'm back. I just looked at my video time. We have actually been recording for over 2 hours. So, it's not going to be long before I finish this video. When I open this, we are still going to try and put some more rocks down. They are a bit clumpy. Oh, they've got actually do that. I'm trying to remove some of these ones that look well too big. But as you can see, that looks quite effective. you can actually see that there's ballast there. Ballast may be a little bit too big, but it's fine. As it says, I am having a drink today as well. That is brandy and lemonade, what I'm drinking. I'm obviously going to be taking my time with it. So I do like to have a drink every now and again. I want to try and crush this up a little bit more than what it is. It's small. What I really could do with it is to sieve. Some of them big pieces is what I'm trying to grab hold of. I've got to crush this up better than what I did. We're going to use this anyway. Right, I'm happy with those rocks being there. Obviously, that doesn't look very professional at the moment. It will be when it's finished. I have to put this screw in this glue. That's what I'm undoing now, because this glue can go rock solid very easily. And I did drop it outside, so you're probably going to see mud within the glue, but it doesn't actually harm the glue. When I was outside, I was actually doing a little bit of work on my auntie's birdhouse. I'll put a bit more glue down on that, so that didn't seem like much. And obviously, I want a nice thick layer of ballast. That's better. A bit better without ruining the rocks. Obviously, when this dries, all you'll see is the rock. And this is how I'm making the flooring from a train station. So it looks more realistic than what it should. If you think a homemade something can't be as realistic as what it seems, it can if you know what you're doing. That's starting to look a bit more professional. You'll see what it looks like when it's dry. Just trying to get some towards the edge. And this time try not to let the cardboard get stuck. I don't mind rocks sticking to this because they are supposed to be scattered. So the more that's scattered, the more better it is. Hold on, try and spread that a little bit more. I'm going to push down and it should spread itself. Anyway, at least I gave you a little bit of history about trains and stuff like that. Because once I've done this part, I'm more likely going to get a shower and relax for a bit. like that rock, I think it's a bit too big. But instead of actually putting it back in the box, because that one's actually got glue on it, I'm going to crush it and put it back with that. And that's actually looking quite well. Obviously there will be loose rocks, but I'll show you how to get rid of that. I'm going to repause the video, because now you can see roughly what I'm doing. I'm going to lift that up, and lift that up. So that section that I've cut out, you can see the rocks on there, starting to look more professional. When it comes to building the train station, obviously the tracks will go over where the ballast is. And that's why we put that little section between that, because obviously you want the ballast perfectly within line. And if I'd built the train station first, the ballast pushed the train stations crossways and we wouldn't get a nice decent set of ballast. You know, I went to have a drink of my drink and I only picked up the ballast. I don't think that would have been very pleasant, pulling a whole load of rocks down my throat. Just to show quickly on how easy it is now to actually do that. With that out the way, I've just put a long line of glue there and I spread that around. I probably should have used my other glue because it spreads better than this Gorilla Glue. Because this Gorilla Glue is actually strong glue, so it's faster drying than average wood glue. But because it's stronger, I know for a fact it'll hold the bricks in place where I want them. And it's very rare I use this Gorilla Glue. My stepdad actually gave me this Gorilla Glue. I do actually call him Dad because he has actually been actual there for me. And if I ever need information on that, what I have to do is load up my question gun and go answer one thing. And if Dad can give me the answer, he will. There's now more rocks. This is just layer one of all this. That's better. Now we're getting the actual smaller rocks. And spread that round, because a lot of that is actually going to fall off there when I tip it up. And then we'll do that when it's dry. And let it settle. When it's dry, any loose bits will just easily fall off, and then we'll put glue back over the top and re-glue it so that it's actually level. So I'm going to pause the video just to finish it. As a matter of fact, I may as well finish it on video because I haven't got very far to go. But yeah, that's actually starting to look really good, to be honest. We are actually getting through this quite quickly. So if I wasn't nattering away or being interrupted or stuff like that, I probably could have showed you one platform starting to be built. But there is the attention of letting this dry. I'm going to gently turn this around. Oh, that's got some weight to it. Because obviously I'm using that bit of paper there to rest. And I'm trying to get this actually on the video. So this is the last bit now.
You can't spread for me.
Oh, do not want that glue there. I'm going to try and scoop that off. Yeah, that'll do. And we're going to spread that round. And then put more bricks on it. I'm actually going to let this video run its time out, to be honest. Because unfortunately I'm only, with my laptop, I'm only allowed to record so much time with videos. Oh no, I'm not going to let the time actually run completely out. I just thought, because then I won't be able to move on to the next stage. Because once again, this has to be done in parts. You can see how well I can actually construct something just from using my brain. So a lot of people would think, oh, I need some ballast for my rails and that. I'm going to buy some off eBay. And me, no, I'm too clever for that. I'm not wasting money on something that I can get for free. Right, I need to move some bits off there because there's a little bit of glue going on there. Well, I'm going to pause the video again. I'm going to go and do a little bit more outdoor constructing work. I need a bit of tissue. Give me a sec, I'll pause in the video for a minute. Right, I'll just wipe that off. I'm going to add a bit more rocks to this bit. No, I don't know why I clean that off then if I'm doing this. I'll add a little bit more rocks to this bit. Yeah, as you can see, that will bundle up with all the rocks and whatever else is there, but that'll help it stick. And it'll seem better. So I'm going to pour ballast over that one. Then I'm going to pause the video, leave that to dry a bit, and then when we come back I'll show you why I knew there was enough in there, because some of this is actually going to come very loose. So, see you in a bit. Oh, I'm not sure if I did that on video. Wait there. I've just added a bit more glue to this and put some of that on there, so I'll see you in a bit. I'm not sure what I was recording, what I wasn't. Right, I'm back again. We are now going to actually re-level this out so it looks legit. So what we're going to do, we're going to get where the ballast come from, well, the pot that the ballast was in, and we are going to, it's got stuck to the paper again, so we're going to use this and we're going to remove it. This Gorilla Glue is actually quite strong, so I need to be careful doing this. There we go. As you can hear, there are bricks moving and all sorts. So we're going to tip that up inside to there. Right, going to do the other end. So obviously it's not easy to actually tip it because there's still the fold in the cardboard where it was split. That can be easily mended. I can't tip it up right there. I have a bad back, unfortunately, so it's a little difficult for me to do this. So I'm bringing that a bit further over and I'm going to tip it up vertically. These are more direction now, come on. I'll swap that round and do it again on the other side so I can do it vertically because of the sand and stuff. Okay, I haven't took it all off, but it's took quite a bit off. Where we have now a bit of a sand bed. So what we're going to do is get our glue again. That's why I've pocketed that up a bit more, so we get all this bit. So what we're going to do is pour glue over that quite a lot. And we're going to smudge that in. And it's actually tearing up bricks doing this, but don't worry about that. No, just got a bit on there again. Ow. That's why I chose the Gorilla Glue, to be honest, because it's got a better, stronger hold. So what we're going to do, we are going to do that. I'm going to put that to one side, and I'm going to sprinkle more of this over it. Press down, so it spreads it in. Starts making that bit equal to that bit, which I am going to need to upgrade that slightly. I'm going to spin this around. So I'm going to pause the video because you can see what I'm doing now. I'm going to pause the I'm going to stop the video and I'll show you the rest of this being built in part 2.